All right, we're live for the Celtics Live post-game show after another loss. Now, I know the obvious excuse that we could make. If this Celtics team was playing well as of late and they were firing on some cylinders heading into this game, we could say, oh, well, we didn't have Tatum, we didn't have Kemba, we didn't have Thompson, we didn't have Romeo, that type of thing. But the way this team's playing, honestly, regardless of who's injured, regardless of, who's sitting out and who's not playing, this just rolls up into yet another lost game that was super winnable. So, yeah, I'll call attention and I'll admit, obviously having Tatum, obviously having Kemba would have helped tonight. But, man, that was still a winnable game. Took it to overtime, had a big lead at times in that game. That was a winnable game. You know it. I know it, and we could still be a little bit frustrated even without, without Tatum and Kemba in that game. But anyways, if you guys are watching on YouTube, I'm going to ask you guys to please subscribe to the channel. We have a lot of interesting content, including these post-game shows coming to the channel, so please subscribe on YouTube if you are watching there. If you're watching on Twitter or on Twitch, head over to YouTube and subscribe there, as come March 31st, that's going to be the only place we are streaming these post-game shows. So better head over there and join the community over there. But let's just jump right into it, guys, so I can get to your chat. I see you guys are already, oh my God. I already see that you guys are hammering the chat. It's when the Celtics lose, I got to have my eyes on my A game, or whatever I'm trying to say. My eyes better be on their A game because the chat flies. But let's get into the Manscaped talk here, guys. If you haven't headed over to Manscaped yet, you haven't supported the stream, but at the same time, you haven't picked up some of these awesome products that Manscaped is offering you, even though the Celtics stink right now. They're still offering you, the Celtics fan, 20% off and free shipping over on manscaped.com with promo code CelticsLive. So head over there, check it out, throw some stuff in your cart, apply the code CelticsLive, and be amazed at the discount that gets applied. But let's get into some of the box score here because I want to get to some of the chat. I got to keep up on the chat here. A couple positives, honestly. And honestly, I don't agree with Scal very often. He annoys me, especially when they're losing. He's like the hardest color commentary guy to listen to when they're losing. But he brought up a good point. He said there was a lot of things that happened tonight. It seems like a wasted game. Jeff Teague, we'll start with him. 26 points, 83% from the field, 100% from three. He struggled at the line a little bit. We won't talk about that. 26 from him, and, he kind of wasted that. Robert Williams, 17 from him. 17 and 6 and 4 blocks. Kind of wasted that night. Jaylen Brown, a pretty efficient outside of shooting, just 11 of 24 in terms of efficiency there, but then you kind of lose me at the efficiency talk with a 3. But he had 27 points and 9 rebounds. A lot of good stuff happened tonight. They kind of pissed it away and kind of wasted it away. But, that's just what this team loves to do, I guess, right? So here we go. Let's look at the Grizzlies side of things because they have a lot of guys. John Morant was just short of 30 points. He is filthy. And Jonas Valanciunas had 16 points and 19 boards. I mean, yikes. And they made Dylan Brooks like Michael Jordan. But, let's get to some of the chat. I mean, like I said, I'm going to reiterate my take. I don't really care that they didn't have Tatum or they didn't have Kemba or Tristan Thompson, even though they got beat by Valanciunas. Still a winnable game. It's still pretty frustrating. But let's get into some of the chat. I'm going to try and catch up quick. News is saying no words. F is saying this team makes me depressed. Josh is saying why. Mooby's saying, why do the refs hate the Celtics? They did. I will say the refs had a couple weird calls there where I was like, whoa. You're telling me that's not a foul? Jaylen Brown gets hit in the forehead late in the game. No call. But at the same time, this team has so many more issues below the surface. Refs are a surface issue, in my opinion. This team should be able to put themselves in. Obviously, they didn't have their stars. I get that this game, but in a lot of these games, when we're calling for the refs' head, I'm looking in the mirror first. Greg says we finally get a Jeff Teague that I could want to do this more. Yeah, and the thing is, they wasted it, like I said. And honestly, you know what? I was going to give him player of the game. We don't give him out after losses. But Jeff Teague was about to get a player of the game, and that would have been pretty nice. News is saying, I didn't even watch the Celtics game. No way we lost. They lost. They had a few guys on the Grizzlies look like they were all-time players. They could have won that game even without Tatum and Kemba. Steven says, I expected Brown to win this game. Brown just disappeared. He disappeared in overtime late in the fourth, too. And we've said it before. I don't try and knock Jaylen Brown for it because I'm hoping, by the end of the year or next year, that's sort of out of his system. But he's been disappearing a decent amount. Sergio saying, everyone relax. We didn't have Kate or Makemba. I think relax is fine. We can relax, but it's still fair to be frustrated. You know what I mean? It's still completely fair to be frustrated. This is too late in the year to be like, oh, we didn't have those guys. Like, this loss doesn't matter. The Celtics are working their way out of the playoffs, you know? Greg's saying, so we finally got Jeff Teague, and I thought we would do more often. He went off this game. This is what we can expect to him near playoff time. Let's hope so. Dean's saying, we got 3 coming our way now. Yeah, we have the Bucks back-to-back games, too, as well. It's going to be tough. F saying, feeling like a Raptors fan right now. Down terrible. Anthony D says, can we make that trade now? Yeah, guys. Let me know in the chat what you think about the Aaron Gordon rumors, the Evan Fournier rumors, some big stuff brewing. Hopefully that stuff actually comes to fruition, because this team needs a little bit of that. Ubi saying Smart can go. Ken saying Ev's silly Leisure Army thinks they're going to get more code uses than my podcast listeners. Don't stand a chance. Some army you got there, Ev. Guys, Ken saying, so he has the same promo code on the site. KJ. His podcast has the same promo code. He thinks that you guys won't use the code more than his podcast. He's got another thing coming. Because I know you guys watching right now, if you want to use the promo code Celtics Live to save 20% off and free shipping at Manscaped, you're going to do it. I know a bunch of you guys have, so I really, really appreciate it. But let's make sure the Wicked Smart Sports Guys podcast, hosted by KJ Doyle, does not get more than us. We want to show Manscaped that this is where it's at. Anthony says this team is ass. News says we made Dylan Brooks look like LeBron. I said he looked like Michael. You said he looks like LeBron. The fact that we're even debating that shows I just stuttered. Shows how bad it was. F says, oh, we didn't have those fellas. I mean, whatever. It just isn't that bad. It's not bad, but it's still a winnable game. If you watch the game, there was things the Celtics did to lose that game. Does that make sense? There was things that the Celtics did that game to lose that game, regardless of who they had on the floor. They could have won that game. Anthony saying, Marcus blew it in the clutch, terrible shot selection. Yeah, just when I thought, like, honestly, they got to the point where I was like, okay, this is setting up for, I think the Celtics are going to win this game. Marcus Smart takes a 3 with a guy like on his back, and, you know, he's shoving his ass into him. Hopefully they both use Manscaped to make it a clean transaction. And then he shoots a 3, and I'm like, what are you doing? It's a must-make possession. It's huge time in the game, and Marcus Smart over and over again this season has been doing stuff like that. It's so annoying. All right, guys, I'm going to skip ahead in the chat just a little bit. Let's see. Steven says 4-0 before break. Smart can return the C's. Smart's return, and the C's go 2-5. So that's a good topic. Let me talk about that for a second. We skipped ahead in the chat. Hopefully we stay a little bit more recent here. I was campaigning on this stream over and over again. If there's anybody that showed how valuable they are, it was Marcus Smart when this team was out. He was out, and they just went, you know, they had the Grant Womp Womp as a whole. Marcus Smart comes back, and I'm like, oh, here we go. They got a little win streak going before break. Now he's coming back. And the same issues are there. The lack of intensity, the sort of quitting on games, not diving after loose balls, which, I don't know, as long as I've been a Celtics fan, that's something they're supposed to take pride in. So, I don't know, Marcus Smart, I mean, I thought we had that absolute, you know, valuable piece coming back, and he hasn't been. Now, it's only been a few games, 7 games, is that right? Or 5 games, whatever it is, since he's been back. So it's still early on, I'll give him back, but he didn't have the immediate impact that I honest to God, thought he was going to have. Greg's saying, so we're getting Aaron Gordon, Evan Fournier before Thursday ends, right? Do you know how amazing that would be to get those guys? Now, we've talked about it before. Aaron Gordon, you get him, you're trading for a guy that you still want to get better and better. But Evan Fournier, I honestly think is going to be the guy that the Celtics can give the ball. And I think I'm more excited, obviously, about Aaron Gordon. But if they get Evan Fournier, too, great first name. Let's be first and foremost there. Great first name. But you get him, he's now the guy that I've been asking the Celtics to want to get. And, you know, I guess what they're missing this year is a guy that gets the ball and sort of slows it down and makes good things happen. Can hit the open shot if he needs to, makes the smart play, doesn't rush his game. And I think he's averaging, near 20 points a game this year? He'd be great, too. I mean, you get 2 guys like that. It's like my dream trade right now. I've been talking about, I don't want the one sexy name. I want multiple guys. That's multiple sexy names. You get Aaron Gordon, the rising star, and then you have Evan, who we all know is just a sexy name. Abdul saying, now I'm done with Smart. They should trade him ASAP. Maul saying, if Teague was able to get to the rim so much, Jalen definitely should have shot the 3 less. That's fair. Kellen saying, Tyson Smart need to go. If you can trade Smart for Collins and Bogdan, do it 100%. I think I would take that trade as much as I'd hate to see Smart go. It just depends on is there any way the Celtics could get like Collins to talk like for them to know what he wants in terms of money and stuff? Because that dude wants to get paid. He wants to get paid. He made it clear to Atlanta. That's like the one hindrance in this Collins deal for me. It's because I don't know if the Celtics can or would pay him, I guess. Anthony's saying no excuses to lose this type of game. There we go. That's perfect. I think that there should be no excuses. If you watch this game, so ready? This is going to sound weird, but the Celtics would have I'd be more okay with them just to get their asses kicked tonight. Okay, no Tatum, no Kemba, get out of town, right? But for them to hang in the game and then show over and over again multiple times when they could have won the game and then not lose and then not win the game and lose it, that's where my frustration comes in, because you clearly still could have been better than Memphis tonight. Now, obviously, I don't think I would rather them just go in there and get their doors blown off, but you get my point. Ryan's saying, every game someone goes off against us, it's pathetic. You got that right. Donovan's saying, man, Teague went crazy. He did, guys. If you were missing it when we talked about it earlier, Teague would have been the player of the game, but we don't give the player of the game out on losses, sadly. Anthony's saying, Ev looking like a snack tonight. I'm looking like a snack tonight because I used my Manscaped. I'm feeling like a snack, and you know when you feel like a snack, you look like a snack. KJ saying he's going to win the Golden Balls trophy. AD saying, or Sean saying, Anthony D, talk about looking like a snack. I got to give Sean the shout out for the tee, guys. This is the Jason Tatum. He's an only 19 t-shirt over on Second Row Apparel. Sean just started up his clothing line over there. So Second Row Apparel. Sean, if you want to throw that link in the chat, feel free. We won't mute you. We won't kick you like we did that other fan that time. Feel free to plug your own stuff there. But yeah, definitely go check out this stuff, guys. It's awesome, super comfortable. It's nice out. I'm starting to feel good using the Manscaped, getting nice new shirts. Woo! Donovan saying the Manscaped joke. Longy saying need to sign a starting center and power forward. Smart and Tice should be coming off the bench. I've said over and over again, the Celtics don't need a big. The Celtics don't need a big, right? Not gonna lie, guys. Watching Jonas Valanciunas put them in a body bag tonight, I was like, okay, maybe another big would help. And I know, obviously, no Thompson. I know that Robert Williams was okay, but they just got worked. And it's like, it'd be nice to have a big guy down there. So I'm not saying it's their biggest issue, but it's clear that it's still an issue. And I've kind of downplayed that all year long. Ricky says, I think we should bench Smart when we have a lead, full time when we are down. It's not bad. He does grind when they're down, and then he takes the hero shot when they're up, or when they're down slightly and they need the shot. He takes that shot, which is really annoying. As much as I'm improving reading the chat, you guys are improving as the stream grows and the chat's going faster. This is a never-ending cycle for me, but I'm going to keep up with the chat as much as I can. Abdul saying Collins is overrated. I don't think he's overrated because he's still so young, too. He's in that same boat as you don't know what you're going to get. And I talked about this, right? That's one of my bigger points. We clipped it, put it on the YouTube channel. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. It really does us a solid. Like this stream. We hit 25 stream likes last stream, so let's try and do that again. But we talked about it on the channel. And Collins, to me, is you're trading for everything you've seen so far plus more. Same thing with Aaron Gordon. You're trading for things that you've seen, but you also want them to get better. And Collins is a good example of a guy that is going to need to get better for the price that you're going to pay and the money that he wants. So I don't think that he's overrated as much as he could be overhyped if he doesn't work out. I know that I'm playing a semantical game there, so I'll give you a little bit of credit there, Abdul, but I don't think he's overrated. I think that he's actually really, really good. I think he'd come here and be really good, but I think that he might be overpriced, and who knows if he'd even be here long term. But I think that you got to trade for him knowing that it's a little bit of a gamble. AD says, as much as I love Smart, he's been been in the league too long to take these dumb shots. Yeah. It's crazy that he's the one that you're supposed to rely on right now to be your playmaker late in games. Jalen's not looking for the ball, and then who else, right? It's tough to see Marcus Smart's the guy that gets the ball, supposed to make good things happen, but time and time again this year, he's been kind of chucking up garbage. Ben saying Tice got bullied all night long. Engineers saying Smart should stay a solid defender. He's not the heart of our team. I think he should stay. I'm with you there. I do. Oh, okay. I just read you completely wrong. My bad. I'm on the same boat. I do think you should say, I think he's the heart and soul. I think that, Marcus Smart, maybe if they get a couple more scorers here, I'm going to extrapolate this point. If Marcus Smart doesn't feel the need, and I'm hoping this is the case, if he's not feeling the need to be a scorer, that'd be nice. You know what I mean? Like, maybe he's not going to take those shots if it's not just him and Jalen in the game. Maybe I'm giving him too much credit there. I'm not ready to trade Marcus Smart, but I've said it from the go. Like, I don't know if Marcus Smart's truly untouchable, but I'm not shopping Marcus Smart for damn sure. Like if a trade presents itself and it's a great deal for, you can get younger and better right now, then I don't know if I would hold on to Smart, but I'm sure as hell not shopping him. He's not a name out my mouth if I'm Danny Ainge saying, hey, we got some good guys. Do you guys want Smart? A team's going to have to ask for Smart, and then I'm going to have to really sleep on it and think about it if I'm Danny Ainge. Boston's saying, got to send Tristan Thompson to the Magic, right? So if they trade Tristan Thompson, how's this work? They free up money to possibly sign Tice, and they can extend Robert Williams. I've seen that theory out there that trading Tristan could actually be good for this team. I think Tristan Thompson provides a lot of value to this team, but if he's a piece in a trade to get like any of those Magic guys that we've talked about, then I wouldn't really care that he goes. But I do like him. JC saying Tatum had some dizziness before the game. Yeah, I didn't really know that he was going to be out, and then poof. Kane says the team doesn't have a heart at the moment. Not at all. Not at all. News saying you guys are nuts. Let's swap jerseys and be the Boston Magic. Hopefully we can get a few Rockets while we're at it. Do we still have Yabusele's contract? Change for change's sake doesn't work. I really don't know if getting Aaron Gordon is Evan and Evan Fournier is just making change for change. Like that's a pretty solid upgrade and move. Now we don't know what you'd technically have to give up, right? But I don't know, man. I don't know, News, if that's just like hey, you make a move to make a move. I'm not really in that, I'm not in the use the TP just to use it. But if you can get two guys like that, I think that's a pretty damn big upgrade. DC saying it's time to make a change, and it might be the one that will hurt the Celtics fan, but it's for the good. Engineer saying Tristan is so useless, and his Kardashian curse still hasn't been cured. Greg saying Tice gets destroyed by good defenders. He isn't a true big. He's a 6'8" shooting center that isn't big. We need a real big 7 feet or bigger. Engineer says Smart for Lonzo would be a horrible trade. I'm not in on that. No way. Did someone say Smart for Lonzo? No. We've talked Lonzo before. I like him. He's a good player, but that's not a trade I'm interested in. Gear says I still hope we can land Lonzo IDK, but I would love it. I'm not on the Smart for Lonzo. Wang Yi saying JB has shifted to being more of an offensive focus, is not getting as much defense presence from him. That's okay. I mean, I was gonna say that's okay. It's not okay. But I'm totally fine with Jaylen Brown focusing on that's what we want from Jaylen Brown, for him to be this 20-plus point scorer. He kind of stunk at defense tonight. He was fouling. He was in the wrong place. I get that, but I'm not everyone's talking about Jaylen's regression. It's been coming up in the stream and whatnot. I'm not that mad at that. I just wish the Celtics could be what they've been in years past and sort of cover up for these type of regret. Like when they play guys that aren't playing great defense, they have such good team defense that you don't notice it as much. As much as we hate the Celtics guys going off on playing one-on-one ISO ball on offense, somehow, some way, they're letting their guys get ISO'd on defense too and getting worked. It's annoying as hell. Anthony saying the only downside of trading Grant is not hearing the womp womp sound anymore. He did have a decent game tonight, and like I said, call it like I see with him. He was minus in the plus minus, so I'll throw in that, right? But a few guys were in the plus tonight. But Grant Williams, 10 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 of 3 from 3. We'll take that. That being said, we all have seen the type of Grant Williams games that come after a good Grant Williams game, so buckle up for these next couple. I will miss doing that if we end up trading him. Steven says, honestly, if the Magic weren't dumb and gave Vooch the ball last night, he would have torched Tice. We have to address that position if we're going to win anything, title, conference. And I've argued that in the past. There's a lot of better bigs in the league than Jonas Valanciunas. Can we agree on that? There is a lot more bigs in the league that are way better than him. And the Grizzlies just said, we're going to give him the ball and he's going to dunk it. Now, at the same time, forget the big man for a second. The Celtics, that's another thing to be frustrated at. We talked about no excuse in this game, even with the injuries that the Celtics had. How about a team just dropping points in the paint, and you are going, okay, we're going to do absolutely nothing to stop that. And then late in the game, we're going to say, okay, maybe we'll put in our best shot blocker and Robert Williams in there. And he actually did make a difference, but that was just they wanted it more than you, and they kept getting to their spots, and you just let them get there. Mad was saying, did you see Grant Williams tripping with the ball in the third quarter? And then he got up and was like, ref, call the foul. I'm like, dude, everybody saw. If I wasn't even a Grant Williams hater, I'd say, dude, I just saw you trip. I could love Grant Williams and be like, hey, Grant, that's not the time to complain to the ref. We all saw what happened. Not the time to complain to the ref. Callan says, I'm going to have wet dreams every night about trading Aaron Gordon until Thursday. Let's hope it happens. And at the same time, Make sure you do pick up the Lawnmower 3.0 and the ball deodorant from Manscaped using Celtics Live as the promo code. 20% off and free shipping. If you're going to have those wet dreams and dreams where things happen, let's make sure it's all clean down there otherwise. Head over to manscaped.com, Celtics Live, 20% off, free shipping. Support me, support the show. But most of all, KJ was in here talking his smack, saying his podcast was going to get more code uses. I have a tough time believing that. But, it's all up to you guys. Let's see what you got. They sent me the products. I would not be pushing these if they're not actually good products. I know a lot of you guys have picked them up. Manscaped's pretty legit. News is saying people wanting Tristan gone must have loved Memphis's 16 offensive rebounds. No, Tristan would have been nice tonight, I think. Would have been a good player tonight, I guess, to have. But I'm assuming the people that want Tristan gone understand that or are hoping that you're getting somewhat of a big man back in the deal too. Because, again, I don't know if... I do think you leave yourself on a little bit of an island if it's Robert Williams and Daniel Tice and you don't get a big back. Tristan Thompson's not taller than them, but now you're talking about 2 6'8" big men. One's not really big. One is still young and growing. I hope that if Tristan Thompson's moving on, you are possibly keeping that in mind in terms of who you want back. Ian saying, haven't watched this trash team since the tourney started. It's a much better product. Nice to see the effort in basketball for a change. Thoughts on the 2 first-rounders for Aaron Gordon or trade for Collins? It all comes down to, and this is such a cop-out answer, I know, but both of those guys knowing who's going to play here long-term for what and what type of money. I would take either of those guys. I do put them in a similar boat. I think that I think you can get Aaron Gordon for a little bit cheaper now, not money-wise, but in terms of the ask. The Hawks are playing super, super, super well. John Collins seems to be a demanding type of player in terms of what he wants, and I think that, you're trading. The Hawks don't seem to be a selling team right now the way they're playing, where the Magic still are. So, but if you're to put them in the same playing field, I think you're trading for both of those guys and hoping that they grow with the Jays, which is crucial to think about who's going to be here long-term then. So you got to have some sort of, inclination or feeling or just knowing the fact if you're Danny Ainge of saying, okay, who is going to be here and play with the team? But I would take either of those guys, obviously. Who's going to fit better, though? I don't know. I think I like Aaron Gordon more, and I don't know if that's the right answer, but I think I'm just biased towards him maybe. I think I like him a little bit more. Steven saying, can't trade Tristan unless we get another rebounding big. I agree. Gear says, I would take the Celtics legend Abdul Nader back on this team. I mean, sure. Christopher saying, what is up with Langford? I don't know. Why even tell me that Langford's out tonight? The Celtics do the reports on Twitter. Langford's out again. Yeah, no kidding, dude. He's been out for seemingly 10 years, even though it's his only, second year in the league. This kid is never going to play, I'm kind of thinking. I don't know what's up with Langford, and I can't stand it because even a bunch of you guys in the chat think that Langford is some sort of fix to this team, he's going to come in and help this team. Well, yeah, if they ever decide to play him, I'm not going to lie. I'm starting to think Romeo Langford doesn't exist anymore. Sorry, I'm starting to think Romeo Langford doesn't exist anymore. Brennan saying Celtics fan will get so mad if there's no trades in the next couple days. We will get so mad, but at the same time, we'll all sit back and be like, should have known that was coming, Engineer saying Aaron and Evan Fournier would be a great upgrade. Amazing upgrade. Oh, amazing upgrade. I'm going to fly through the chat right now to give you guys your reads, but I'm also going to try and catch up here. So Ubi says Celtics trade for Shane Larkin or get him back. Ian saying Thompson provides more on than off the floor. It was supposed to be the opposite. Rumors he's been trashing on the C's and the roster to LeBron, and that's linked to the turmoil that's been going. That's interesting. Sergio saying Boogie Cousins is still available if we trade Thompson and sign Boogie for low and he can produce the same. I would take Boogie. Greg says, in a 3-4 team trade, any chance we get Aaron Gordon, Fournier, Rondo, and Collins for Mad Picks and others? I mean, I don't know. That just seems too complicated. Anthony saying, did we draft Romeo? Is he alive? Ian says, what do you think about Smart for Collins and Rondo back? Getting us the starting four, which is major hole, as well as Boston championship experience, good on the floor general. I don't want to shop Marcus Smart, but I don't know if I'm being too recent biased of him missing that shot tonight type of thing and wanting to trade him and underestimating how much value he does bring. But John Collins is really, really good, and I think Rondo would be perfect here. We talked about him last stream. That'd be one that I really have to think about. I don't know if I do that because I don't think it would be smart for them. I think you'd probably go Smart, a young guy. I don't know who that is. And then, you always have to worry about John Collins being that absolute, price tag associated with him in terms of, he declined a $90 million extension with Atlanta. That tells you that he wants bank. So I'm worried about that. Like maybe I'm less bullish than others on him staying here type of thing. I'm worried that John Collins wouldn't necessarily be here long term, and then we traded a bunch to get him. For whatever reason, I don't know, I feel like Aaron Gordon would stay here. I have no clue why I feel like that. It's not like I know either of them. Steven says, I disagree wholeheartedly. Tatum has gotten better and better every year on defense and offense. It's not like Brown regressed. It's been a little horrible at times. Maybe. I know Jason Tatum's gotten better and better, but Jason Tatum isn't this lockdown defender. Jaylen Brown's covering some of the best guys each and every night. Jason Tatum's rarely covering the other team's best playmaker, So in terms of their defensive tasks, I think Jaylen Brown's always tasked with what seems like a harder matchup. And to me, his defense has gotten a lot way worse. I can agree with all of you guys there, but he's taking such an absolute step up in the offensive category. You gotta expect some sort of, fat to be trimmed in the defense, and the unfortunate thing is he's trimming some protein on the defense too. It's not just all unnecessary stuff, but I do think that effort has to go somewhere, and it's coming from defense into offense. And if Jaylen Brown's going to be this guy that's a multi-million dollar player, I think the offense is more important than defense. I think the Celtics need to build a defense around that if Jaylen's going to do that. Now, would I love him to be a two-way player and completely make everything I just said non-existent? Yeah, that's probably the end goal. But to me, Jaylen's regression on the defensive end has to do with his upgrade on the offensive end. And then I don't know which one. You're just, playing with poison there. I don't know which one you'd rather. Gear says, where's Javonte? It's good. He isn't playing, but I haven't seen or heard anything about him. I think he played against the Magic, right? My chat just spazzed out here. What are we doing? All right, we're just going to go here. News says Gordon puts us no closer to Philly or the Nets or Bucks. Give up picks and the young guys. Ainge deserves us to lose his job if he gives up the TP and just puts this team over a hump. News, what you got to understand though is Gordon is the guy that we talked about it last stream. Gordon's the guy that you get him now. I do think you get better. Maybe it doesn't put you near the Philly, Nets, or Bucks, right? But 3 years from now, if Aaron Gordon's still playing with the Jays, all of a sudden now you have a 28-year-old, 29-year-old Aaron Gordon playing with a 27-year-old Jaylen, a 26-year-old Tatum. Like, that's pretty filthy. You got to realize that even Collins and Gordon, they're not the Vucevic's that we, would like now, because it's exactly what you have. You're trading for what you get. You're trading for a guy that can provide a lot right now, but then help compete in the future. Guys, I'm going to ask you again, if you are watching on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button and let's like this stream. Even on Celtics losses, we're here live, venting, complaining about the game. So I'd really, really, really appreciate it if you guys hit the like button. If you don't hit the like button, you're a Sixers fan. What do we always say, huh? You're a Nets fan. You thought Kyrie Irving was the best thing to happen to Boston. You probably love the Lakers, or you hate me. All of those things are not okay. Greg says, the only thing I really remember about Shane Larkin is him stealing the ball and missing a wide open layup down 2 with 7 seconds left against the Hawks, and we lost. I didn't like him since that. Smo's talking about Lonzo. Guys, I think Lonzo, depending on the deal, I think Lonzo would be a great fit here. I think he'd be a great fit here. I don't know if the Pelicans, I know he was rumored earlier, but I've seen a lot of reports too talking about the Pelicans wanting to keep Lonzo around. Now, I don't know if, when you think about big three, if their end goal is, Zion, Brandon Ingram, and Lonzo Ball. But I think that he's going to be harder to get than people think. Now, if they can get Lonzo and JJ Redick or Lonzo and, player X, I think that all of a sudden, that turns into a more enticing deal. But Lonzo alone, I think, would fit here. But you talk about not getting any closer or making a trade to make a trade. That's one if you get Lonzo and only Lonzo. Brennan says, would getting Gordon give us a better potential asset in acquiring Beal in the offseason? So in this offseason, I don't know. I think Beal, honestly, my timeline, and I don't know if I'm just weird for predicting this, I think the minute Kemba's up, which is after next year, and Bradley Beal's up the same year, I think that's what Bradley Beal's been hinting at with those subtle Instagram posts in front of the Garden and wearing Celtic stuff and that type of thing. I think that we're a couple years away from a possible Bradley Beal marriage here, and I'm willing to wait if that's the best way to do it. Kellen saying Gordon would have been building piece for the future. He's only 25. Pray and hope he develops more with Jay and JT. Yep. Greg saying Aaron Gordon can play point guard too, so trading Kemba while getting Aaron... Greg, I don't know if I'm going to let that. I don't know if I'm letting that fly. We can trade Kemba because Aaron Gordon will cover the point guard. I don't know. Anthony's saying if we don't make a trade, we riot. Chris is saying, are we giving up Marcus? Hell no. I don't want to give him up. If he's a necessary piece in some of these superstar deals, I'd have to think about it. Like I said, I don't even know if I would give him up for like a John Collins and Rondo. I'm definitely not on the trade smart, even after some of these bull shots he's been taking. But I'm not totally on the, he's untouchable. I think Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, the only two untouchables guys on this team. And then I think maybe it's Robert Williams after that. Maybe, just the way he's been playing. But, yeah, we'll see. Kane says, I want a superstar that moves the needle, and it won't happen, so I'll be mad either way. Graham is saying, even though I don't want to get rid of Marcus, if it helps the team, I'll be all for it. And that's what it comes down to. And I'll rehash this. Trading Marcus Smart, it's something that no one probably wants, right? No one wants to trade Marcus Smart. The stuff he's done for the Celtics, the times where he's put the team on his back and, been the only one with a sack on this team, we can all agree Marcus Smart has done that. But, and there's a big but, and I'm not totally in agreement with what I'm about to say either. Like I keep saying, I go back and forth. But if Marcus Smart, the player that you have right now, is the guy that you are not willing to give up to get a future superstar in this league or a superstar right now in any sort of a trade, it could be one of the biggest mistakes Boston makes. Because Marcus Smart, he does so much on the defensive end. And he'll have some good offensive nights too. And he does so much for this team. I truly believe that. But there's times where, would you rather him taking that shot or this traded player that you possibly get for him? That shot we saw tonight, he blew the game. He's done that multiple times this year. That's tough because Marcus Smart wants to make the big shot, and I think he clearly is always going to want to make the big shot. If you can get a guy that can make the big shot, I don't know, like I said, I think you think about pulling the trigger. It sucks to say that, but Marcus Smart, as I'm watching this team, as he's come back and, they haven't flipped the switch and turned on the intensity, I've started to get more and more on the trade of, okay, he's not untouchable. And again, that's where I lie right now. He's not untouchable. I'm not saying I want to trade him. I'm not saying trade Smart. I know there's plenty of you guys in here thinking that, but I'm not saying trade Smart. I'm just saying he's not untouchable. And if he's the obstacle in trying to get some of these, incredible players that have been rumored, then you definitely have to think about it. Greg saying we aren't beating the Sixers or Nets in any way in years, so getting guys traded here that can help us win for years later, it helps in 3 years until we get a way better roster. I know I botched that comment, but you got the gist of it. Yeah, I think that's why you get some of these younger guys. Ubi, I skipped ahead in a little bit right here. Ubi says Jaylen just said coaches told him to stop shooting mid-range and shoot more threes and layups. Fire Brad now. That can't be true. I'll give the coaches a Grant Womp. Now, I would agree in a lot of ways in today's NBA that's a good sort of coaching note, right? Like, no, the mid-range is the lost art in NBA. You got to take it to the hole or you got to shoot the threes. But Jaylen Brown, for the majority of this year so far, probably up until he stopped shooting these mid-ranges, was literally one of, if not the best mid-range jump shooter in the league. So if Brad told him to say, hey, stop doing that buckaroo, that's a Grant Womp. And again, I think that aligns with like, hey, follow the trend of the league. Threes, dunks, and layups. But a guy that was killing it in the mid-range game, if that's the case, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. That is someone that looked at analytics, and maybe it's not Brad Stevens, maybe it's the other coaches, but that's someone that looked at analytics, said that the 2-point shot, the mid-range shot, I should say, is, it's absent in today's game. And he looked at his player and said, no one shoot mid-ranges anymore. Instead of looking at the player and what's in front of him, seeing that Jaylen's knocking him down. Ian saying, I like the idea of Kemba, Smart, JB, JT, Gordon, Rob starting 5. Hold on. You like the idea that's starting 5 because that's 1, 2, 3, that's 6 guys. That's why you like the idea. Ian, no kidding, we're going to beat teams if we're playing 6-on-5. But I do think, forget even the trade right now. I think you go Kemba, Smart, JT, JB, and Rob. Like, I think that starting five is pretty filthy. But then your bench, all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay, well, you got Tyson Thompson on the bench, but where's the electricity off of it? Greg says, yeah, I said we got another guard and more bench players, not Kemba for Aaron Gordon, straight up for Aaron Gordon to play point guard. Hey, I read your comment, Greg. That's what you said. Kane says, Market looks like he's been eating cheeseburgers while he was hurt, not in shape. Love Marcus Smart, though. Fighter saying, also, don't forget that Marcus Smart shoots 25% in the fourth. That's a tough one, yeah. Ray saying, please get rid of Smart. All he offers is defense. He has heart, though. Chris saying, Marcus is our Draymond. He's the heart and soul of our team. He's untouchable. Yeah, I mean, I understand. I'm honestly giving points to both sides here. Trade Marcus Smart and not trade Marcus Smart. I think both people have some legs to stand on. I'm not going to lie. But that doesn't mean I'm directly in the fence. I lean more towards the not trade Marcus Smart. But I can totally see the argument of, if you have this offer presented and you say, no, we don't want to get rid of Marcus Smart, it could be tough. News says Gordon in his 7th season and his points per game have declined over the last 4 years. Also has negative plus minus for his career. Plus minus, I can't give you that news. The declining in points per game, obviously that's not a good look, but negative plus minus. Vucevic, whoever wants to trade for, leads the league, or should I say, is at the bottom of the league in plus minus. That's a product of the team you're on, man. Ray says, I'm 43 years old and I remember the good old days when I was proud to be a Celtics fan. Larry Bird era, Paul Pierce, but this team, no heart, I'm done. Yeah, it's weird to me that I'm at a point where I'm like, I can't stand up and be like, oh, I'm the Celtics fan. Like, obviously I'm still a proud Celtics fan, but to stand there and be like, oh my God, like, rah, rah, let's go Celtics, tough look right now. Kellen saying Smart's contract's up after next year, and his next contract is potentially his big payday. Would you guys be willing to pay him 20+ mil or get more assets for him in a trade? Sign me up for trading him. Greg says, if you're good at mid-range and they are open, you shoot them. Who would tell him that? Chris is saying, Jimmy led Miami to the finals, taking 2s. Steven says, you know who I miss? Marcus Morris. I completely agree. 3D, big, tough, solid bench player that can go off anytime. Felt like he never had any terrible games either. He was such an attitude guy, too, at the very least. You know what I mean? Like, him and him on the floor, you wouldn't be going on, and obviously they probably had it, so don't fact check me, but you wouldn't be going on any of these, like, 20-minute scoreless runs. Because he'd say, guys, get your freaking asses together. Like, come on. And then he might go do it himself. That is a huge miss. I can totally agree. Brandon says, thoughts on Pritchard's ceiling. I've said this before, and this is not to slight Pritchard in the least, but Peyton Pritchard, I think, is pretty damn close to what he's going to be. Now, I think he's going to be able to get more consistent and be better, so I think he is going to improve a little bit, but the Peyton Pritchard we see right now, like, I don't think Peyton Pritchard's ceiling is all that much higher. I think he has an amazingly high floor for a rookie, right? But I don't think Peyton Pritchard becomes, an all-star or a true, like, carve-him-up starting point guard. Starting point guard, I can give him that. But, again, that's just seeing the good games out of him and saying it's going to get more and more consistent. And, again, that's not to slight him. Like, I'm not looking to trade Peyton Pritchard. I would if it's needed in a deal. But Peyton Pritchard, to me, he's got a great floor. He shows potential, but to me, I don't know how much better the player Peyton Pritchard gets. I hope he proves me wrong. Like, I don't want to die on this hill. I'm not like a Peyton Pritchard's not getting any better guy, right? But that's just my honest take, gut reaction. Kane saying, I miss this team winning games. You and me both. Graham saying, the Celtics was really disappointed this season. The only thing left to talk about is the New England Patriots and the offseason moves they made and Cam to be getting better. How about that? Yeah, right? The Pats go out and sign all these names. All those, like, obvious names the Pats were in. I wish one time the Celtics, when there's an obvious name floated around, the Celtics were, like, just in the deal. But it seems like they're not. Ray saying, by the way, Tice sucks ass. Just saying. I think this isn't a good game for me to say that, but Tice does bring some value, right? He's not a guy that's going to cover Jonas Valanciunas, and he never will be. But Tice off the bench, I think, could be pretty damn good. Greg saying, heart and soul doesn't win you games. If you trade Smart and get a great option instead, why wouldn't you do that? Yeah, I know it's going to suck, but I do think. Ian says, LMAO, I might just have to hit a little something before going to sleep. Can't count now. Kane saying, I mean, you weren't wrong. You were spitting facts. He said, hey, if we start 6 guys, we will have a good starting lineup. It's like, yeah, no kidding. Hey, so, hey, you're not wrong. That would be an amazing starting 5 in my opinion, too. The ref's just like 1, 2, but then you see Marcus Smart, that little sneaky guy, just like hiding behind the ref every time he turns. Hey, News says, if we don't trade for Gordon, I will buy from your shop and ball deodorant to celebrate. F the Orlando Magic North. Okay. Hey, deal. Greg saying, thoughts on Josh Hart? I think Josh Hart's good. I don't know if, like, Greg, he falls into my typical bucket of, bring him in here. I think that he'd be good, but I don't know if that's like a guy that I'm really going out of my way to get. I need like multiple Josh Harts, I need like 3 Josh Harts because I think he's better than Semi. I think obviously he's better offensively than a lot you have on the bench, but I think he falls into the bucket of a lot of the names that get brought up in the stream where I just kind of say I would take him because, it's not going to be expensive. You're not going to have to pay a lot in money or, to trade pieces. And then you have a guy that is just an upgrade in terms of what you have. A few more comments, and then we're going to sign off for tonight, guys. Josh is saying, at this point, we might not even make the playoffs if this shit show keeps up. Yeah, they're trying. This is like when you got, Fs in school or in college or in high school. It's like you have to try to fail. The Celtics almost seem like they're trying to get out of the playoffs here. Kellen, good point here, says we need an Eddie House or James Posey or a Leon Poe. Remember him too. We need 2 more pieces to help this team. Graham saying the Celtics need to call Nate Robinson. Ubi saying, what about Capella instead of Collins? I'd take him. I think that all of a sudden you have your beast down low, but I don't know if, if we're talking smart for him again, I don't know if I'd do that, but he's a guy that I would definitely like. I would definitely like him here. Ian saying, only way Pritchard becomes a legit starting point guard if he becomes a deadly 3-point shooter, which he's able to read the defense and better over time. Good comp value be Fred Van Vliet. That's a ceiling. That's fine. I'll give you that. Fred Van Vliet. Like, I think that's good. And again, when I said Pritchard's not going to get that much better, I'm saying that, that Van Vliet is sort of his ceiling then. I don't think that that's that much better. Like, he played himself into the big payday. He's an awesome player, but I don't think he's going to be sniffing superstar anytime soon. You know what I mean? Kane saying we're gonna be the first play-in team to win the title. Greg saying starting point guard that could potentially come off the bench would be Delon Wright from the Pistons. He can go off and feel like he'd be a good defending higher point guard too. That's a good name. Greg always provides these names that are like, I kind of forget the guys in the league, and then when he says the name, I'm like, okay, that guy's better than Semi, that guy's better than Grant, that guy's better than Jeff Teague. Not the best night to say that tonight, but in reality it is. Ray saying, honestly, feel like we just need some sort of rebuild, a deeper scoring bench, and some good guys around Tatum and Brown. I don't think a rebuild's necessary. I think what they need is a serious shakeup or change. Even if you have, some of the pieces you like, and, Pritchard looks good, or, we like Semi, like stupid stuff like that, and they just need to, okay, you know what? Josh Hart for Semi, good example, right? Who knows if that's going to really benefit you that much? But it's a shakeup, it's a change, and you don't really have anywhere to go but up from where you are right now. So I don't want to enter a complete rebuild, but I think what I'd agree with you on is there needs to be some sort of just like, hey, this is the vibe and we're changing it, and that's what I'm hoping for. I hope that this trade deadline comes and goes and all of a sudden we look back on it and say, okay, these trades, multiple, plural, that we made are going to help this team. Both now, both in the future, that type of thing. Ubi says we should cut Grant and then sign me. I promise I can hit the 3. I'd give it to you, man. Greg saying Raptors are sucking calling their guys. Chris Boucher, maybe. I would love him. I would. We talked about it before. I don't think they're going to get rid of him. I don't know. Maybe they will, but I'd love him. That's a kid that's going to get better and better and better. But, all right, guys, I think that's going to do it. It's not that, 45-minute stream tonight? Not the longest, not the shortest, but I do appreciate every single one of you guys tuning in. One last shout out to Manscaped here for sponsoring tonight's stream now through August. But, head over to manscaped.com, use promo code Celtics Live to save 20% off and free shipping. But I'm going to thank you guys once again, and we're going to give one last womp tonight. Hopefully we're getting the bad juju out of here, and somehow we go and beat the Bucks. That'd be a good feeling. But I thank you guys very much for tuning into the stream tonight. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you are liking this stream. Turn on those bell notifications so you get notified when we go live after every single Celtics game. And hopefully we get to talking about wins pretty soon. I don't know, man. But we'll catch you guys here next game, and appreciate you guys as always. Peace out.